Today we're going to be installing a 2014 to 2019 Toyota Tundra Crewmax. This rear is going to be a 60/40 with the armrest in the middle. So before you get started, you're going to want to undo these elastic pieces on your belt buckle, because we actually have those on the new or on your seat covers. So you're just going to want to pop these off. Just like that, make sure it's free from it. So, we're gonna start with this driver bottom. It's the larger 60%. You can see in the bottom right hand corner, it's always gonna be labeled DB, obviously standing for driver bottom. I find it easier just to lift up the seat a little bit, just to get it started. And just kind of, sometimes it does help to fold these in, so then you're not catching on this fuzz the whole time you're trying to slip it on. So I'm just trying to work it down the sides of the seat, and eventually the rest will kind of follow. Just gonna throw that on there for now. And sometimes it helps to switch between having the seat up and the seat down. And so once you get here, you should be lined up with this crease and these 4 Velcro straps. It's going to go around the seat buckle. I find it easier to lift the seat up, because then you got a lot of room in between here to actually stick your hand down there and kind of shove the seat cover. And then so now you should be able to see your seat cover kind of poking through down here. And so you're gonna want to pull these tight. Don't pull directly on these Velcro hooks. They will sometimes can get ripped off if you pull too hard. So make sure you're grabbing the fabric. And then when you're tightening it up, then pull by the fabric. And then this corner right here kind of hooks around. You almost will be able to feel it. And that same with these, kind of hold that into place. And then just kind of repeat for the other side. Just kind of get that out of your way. And the higher up you put this first one, kind of the tighter where that seatbelt will be. So if you have slack in there, these are going to be the ones you want to adjust. We should have and I'm just going to loosely put these back on, because I'm sure we're going to have to adjust up here on the top. Actually, it's looking pretty good so far on this first try. You just kind of want to look out for any wrinkles. Obviously these seams want to follow these factory seams like right here. Obviously underneath this now. But then a common place to get kind of a lot of built up slack is right on these corners. You can see like I kind of got a little bit of rippling. So I'll probably flip this up and yank it down from that side. And I'll probably do the same over here. A good way to also tell if you're lined up correctly is if your release handle is correctly centered. So a good way to tell, like on mine currently, I am not lined up with this handle. As you can see, it's pretty crooked, so I still need to come back. Plus another way to kind of see that I'm crooked or need to go back that way is I have some slack up here, and this isn't fully tucked around. So I'll just kind of start kind of working this back. And you can kind of already see I got the slack out of this front part right here. And I'm just going to kind of pull it down from right in here. And straightened up that handle pretty good. I'm just going to put that on there for right now. I'm just going to double check back here. And then I'm going to go back in here and get this other side because it's just kind of loosely on there. And just kind of go until it looks pretty flat straight across. You really don't want any ripples or anything like that. If you see them, you can, let's say there's some up here or something. You just always want to be pushing them to the back to where you can pull from one of the straps or from the bottom. So if I had like a weird ripple right here, you're just going to want to almost massage it and then run your hand down along. And you can kind of just push it down to where you actually can get a place to pull it tight, and it'll usually come clean. But I believe that's it, and we'll move on to the passenger bottom 40%. So we're gonna start with the 40%. 40% in this case is the passenger side. PB stands for passenger bottom. Again, I'm gonna flip this up just to kind of give myself some room. And one thing you want to just note of is the child restraints on these are always going to be exposed. So with the driver bottom and the passenger bottom, you're always going to want to go under them. And then with the top, you're going to want to go over them. You just don't want to go under them with the top, and then because it will give you a real weird fitting, and it will kind of take up area or like part of the seat cover where you need it somewhere else. Because again, these are literally meant to follow the factory seams. So just something to keep in mind. And these are a little bit tougher to get on or get started, but once they're started, they kind of just go right into place, and they're usually pretty straightforward. Again, sometimes it helps just to kind of leave it in this free fall area, just because then you can actually get your hands in the back to pull down the top. As you can see, I have some unwanted, I got a lot of slack up here. So I'm probably going to start by pulling it this way towards me, just because I need this area over here, and I can just kind of tell that by this seam is almost a little bit too far that way. So I'm going to pull it this way, and you can kind of tell that this seam is too far up, so it needs to come down. So we'll pull it down with this guy, but first off I'm going to start with that. And again, these handles make it kind of nice because you can see if you're spot on or if you're crooked or what's going on. Just gonna throw that on there for now. And so now I'm gonna be feeding this through the thing. Again, I'm gonna tip it up like this, and literally I can fit my whole hand back there. Got a lot of space. Makes it really nice compared to some other models. And then you should be able to see them just hanging down right here. You're gonna want to peel this back and kind of just get it out of your way. And you're just gonna, again, don't want to pull directly on the Velcro. Don't just pull from right here and yank. You're gonna want to actually grab the fabric and just kind of start from one side. And again, you can always retighten these up. So this may just be like round one, and you go back through and retighten everything. So we got that there. I'm just gonna tack these on here and just kind of see where I'm sitting. And you can kind of, again, run your hand along here to get out any like ripples or anything like that. Looking a lot better. And again, you're just going to want to make sure your seams are lined up with the original ones and kind of move accordingly. And again, you can just, if you had ripples up here or whatever, you can run your hand back. Just you want to bring it to a spot where you actually can tighten the Velcro strap. So here we have the MH, which stands for the middle headrest up here. It's the only one that looks kind of different. It's a lot shorter. But I usually like to hook the front and bring the back around. And again with these, you're gonna have a push pin on this side, or a little tab. It should come right out. So there's only one tab on the one side. And then once it's off, you can kind of actually get behind it and pull it down. And again, you're going to want to follow those factory seams. And just kind of make sure you don't have any weird buckling spots and all that. And then with these, obviously you can tell like if you're crooked or not. If you know, if this is way over here trying to fight this bar, they're usually supposed to be pretty straight on there. And then personally, I like to just start from one side and you kind of want to pull the fabric to the fabric and hide the Velcro the best you can. It's just how you get the kind of best look for them, and then you know you're almost spot on with how tight they're supposed to be. So That's the middle headrest, so we'll move on to the side headrest, the passenger driver's side for the rear. These ones will just be labeled with an H in the same spot, and they're gonna install identically to each other. So we'll show you here on this passenger one. It's gonna be the exact same. Sometimes it is helpful if you want to flip up the bottom of the seat. It pulls the passenger top away from the window to give you a little bit more working room, but I just like getting it started. And then kind of once you get it on there, I just like to pop them off and work with them in my lap. So this one, unlike the middle, has a push pin on this side and a push pin on this side. So you're just gonna need to push them both at the same time. Get those guys off there. And then pull it around the rest of your corners. And again, same thing, you're gonna wanna line up the bars with these openings and make sure they're not super crooked. It's gonna kind of be the same from here on out as the middle bottom, just those 4 Velcro. Make sure you're getting them as tight as you can. You wanna make sure you're not crooked. You wanna make sure this is following that factory seam. Both sides, make sure you're equal, you're not super hanging over on one side and exposing the original seats on this side. Avoid any ripples. Again, same thing, just kind of massage them out or pull them down, in this case to the bottom of the headrest where you can actually adjust it and like tighten up a Velcro strap. And so this again will be the exact same on the driver's side headrest. Just remember, I think, just to double check, yeah, so the push pins are on the same exact side. So it'll be exactly like this. You want to make sure that you're doing both these at the same time, otherwise you'll just be fighting the seat. So here we got the driver top. This is probably going to be the hardest part of the install, but first off, what you're going to want to do is locate your holes for where the headrest goes in right here, and make sure that's towards the top, and slip it underneath the seat belt just kind of like so, and just kind of loosely put it on there. You're going to want to undo all the Velcro straps you see, like this one was together, but it will eventually go around. Hook it around. It just seems to kind of be the best way to start, and it's kind of a tight space. Okay, so with these child restraints, there's actually a cutout for them. Make sure you don't have it confused with the ones that go over where the headrest goes in, but just kind of something like that. And so that one kind of popped on there nice. And with these guys, there's a pretty big plastic shroud around the buckle, so you don't have to really worry about it, but still, you're always going to want to start on the side that's got this push pin on it. But again, this is going to go around that plastic thing, so it's going to be kind of out of your way. And it's just going to kind of snap into there like that. And like once you get these in there, it's going to kind of give you a nice a base almost, just to know where you are. When you're first putting the seat cover on, and you still got a lot of slack in here, you're going to want to pull this down under these Velcros, and it just kind of slips right over it just like that. And then you're going to want to hook up this corner. just kind of like so. And you're just gonna kind of want to push that back so you have some slack. And I'm gonna go back to just lining up these top pieces. So with these middle ones, it's kind of hard to see, but at least on this side one, doesn't matter kind of where you start it from, because there's no push pin on it. But this one, there's a push pin on the driver's side of the vehicle, and you're gonna want to start it from there, because if you start it vice versa, you can break it off, and you don't want to have to go buy one of those. So it just kind of pops on there. Again, just make sure you start from the right side. And then I'm gonna probably start by kind of snugging up this top, getting this side piece all in place, and then probably one of the last things I'm gonna do is start shoving this through the seat. Again, after that, I'll probably will get tucked underneath, and I'll show you all that. But let me get started with this. So again, with this guy right here, it's actually going to get tucked underneath this plastic, and once you kind of do that, it gives you some extra room to work with, or like extra slack. And then these are actually going to get flipped down and then connect. So I'll start with that, but I'm going to flip up the seat. Kind of shoving these guys in place here. So you'll see it hanging down right here. Just gonna kind of want to make sure you snug it up. And this is actually gonna get pulled away from you. These straps are gonna be going around this beefy bar right here. You're gonna want to go under it and then over it to connect it back to these Velcros, because it actually connects back to itself. So it's gonna just kind of go something like this and go back to itself, and that bar will be sitting right here. So you can always tighten those guys up later, but next with this guy, is actually going to go back and around. You're just going to want to make sure that side's in there, but you're just going to want to make sure that this corner kind of all the way back there. And then this is actually going to get tucked up. You're going to want to go over that seatbelt bar just to give yourself a little bit more slack. So this is actually going to get tucked up and around back behind the seat and attached to this piece of fuzz right here. So you're just going to want to make sure that this is in place. And there is some sharp stuff under there, so be careful. And again, make sure you're going over that seatbelt bar so you have enough slack in the Velcro strap to actually reach back here. It'll kind of look something like that. So you're going to want to shove these back in here and make sure that the prickly side is, you know, straight and kind of where you want it, because you're almost going to have like one go at it unless you want to pull it back up. But start with connecting this top and then kind of run your finger down along where they're going to meet, and you can kind of stick them together. And you can always undo this top part a little bit and yank it over. And it'll look something like that. Okay, so we got the armrest here signified by A in the bottom corner. And it's literally, you're just going to want to make sure you got this hole for your cup holders facing up. It's just going to kind of slip over this. Kind of like so. And you can cover up this strap because we provide you with one. So it's kind of tuck under there flat. So these cup holders are kind of nice because you can figure out if you're crooked and whatnot, and if so, which way you need to pull it. And again, like, this is a common spot to get a build-up like I have here, so you can just try to work it out, and you can see I'm starting to ripple those, and so you almost can just pull them to the back to where you can actually fasten it down. So with this, you want to make sure you get these corners around, and I'm actually going to tuck them underneath. And you're just going to want to make sure these corners are actually getting tucked in and around. You should be able to see your straps in here. Just gonna paste that on there for now. But you're gonna want to make sure these are around the corner. And you want to keep tension on it. And it'll look something kind of like that. We got the PT passenger top, is what that stands for. Again, this one is going to be two of the outside ones. There's no mill strap, so they're just going to connect to this. This is going to go underneath the seat. Along with this, they're going to be the exact same. So, I'm going to start by throwing it over the top here. Just kind of real loosely. And I like to get the child restraint through that hole sooner than later, because you may forget about it and then it's stuck under there and you gotta pull your seat cover up. And again with these, I like doing these right away because they'll almost keep your seat covered centered. And again, make sure you're going over on top of those child restraints. I find it a little bit easier to get them from the bottom. So I just shove these in there for now. Make sure you're hooking around the corner bottoms of the seat. So the other side is going to be the exact same connecting style as this. It's just a little bit harder to show on camera, but like I said, it's going to be the exact same.